That was a hot pile of garbage, a steaming mess of a film, absolutely awful from start to finish. No one was doing their jobs right. This is Deadpool 2, isn't it? So winding that back, no, it was great. It was fun. It was a Deadpool movie. Was it better than the first? In ways. Was it definitely worth seeing? Yes. If you've seen the first one and you're at least vaguely interested, go and see it. Like with Infinity War, I want to give general impressions first and then go into sort of spoilery territory. So, yeah, it's a funny film. It's a Deadpool film, the Merc with a Mouth. And the jokes were pretty much on point. Some landed better than others, because that's what happens with a funny film. It's par for the course. So it didn't suffer in any way, shape or form more than any other film does. Some of the jokes were absolutely laugh out loud. It was a fairly packed cinema where I was, and you knew when the jokes were landing. People were audible. I know some people have a problem with people like reacting to a film, vocally, if you will, but I have no problem with it. I felt it helped the enjoyment in many ways. The acting, I know some people had certain, I don't want to say concerns because it sounds awful in context, but they were perhaps unsure with certain casting choices, such as, you know, the Domino's as he beats situation. Many people feel that she is a Caucasian character and that should be maintained. So I do have to say to those people, you know, I can understand why, you know, some people are very precious about characters, but I termed it a race-neutral role. It never impacted the fact that she wasn't a Caucasian. And that's, I think, what people are, you know, going to be happy about with that choice. To me, it was never an issue. You know, I'm very much in the field of, if they're the best person for the role, I don't care if they've got blue skin and they're from, you know, Andoria or something, giving my Star Trek cred there. But, you know, to me, as long as they can do the role well, that's what matters. And she did. She was believable as this walking personification of Lady Luck. Julian Dennison, I've not seen Hunt for the Wilder People, but I kind of want to now. He's definitely impressed me. He brings the range that we want. You know, the comedy scenes that he has to do with Ryan Reynolds, I do get the impression that Ryan's a very giving actor, but you still got to hold your own, and I think he does. But he also brings rage and sadness, you know, to the arc of Russell. There's a lot of tragedy in this character's life, and I think he really does well, so I've got my eye on this guy. Josh Brolin, of course, you know, we've had the references in the trailers, you know, the Thanos, One-Eyed Willy, etc. But he does a good job as Cable. He's believable. I'd have still preferred the Avatar guy in ways. You know, I think it would have been a very different role. But we got Josh Brolin, and it works. You know, the arc that he has services the film well, and I think I'll accept this casting. You know, obviously we've had, you know, Brianna Hildebrand come back, and Colossus, you know, all of these people are back in good ways, and I've really enjoyed this film. It was a blast. It's about 2 hours. It does kind of feel it. Where I said with Infinity War, you know, it's 2 hours 40, thereabouts, but it doesn't feel quite that long. This feels its length. There are certain bits that are perhaps kind of compressed, kind of rushed a little, but there are also some sort of exposition bits that kind of could be cut down a touch. We could maybe get rid of 10 or 15 minutes of this film and not really be too concerned about it. But, you know, on balance, it's an enjoyable film. It's a family film. I promise you, it is. It's a family film. But maybe don't take the really young kids. But it's great. I really enjoyed it. And now, to sort of go into any more detail, I do want to touch into spoiler territory. So if you haven't seen it, you just wanted the general impressions, stop the video now, go and see it, come back for the spoilery stuff. Or if you've already seen it or don't care, carry on. I think that's a long enough spoiler warning. Finally, this is your last time. Go now if you don't want to be spoiled. So X-Force built up so much in the trailer, and true to character, true to type, they're killed pretty quickly. Which was very surprising. I thought some of them maybe, but I didn't expect pretty much all of them to be wiped out in minutes. I mean, the fact that we didn't even know Vanisher was in the film, and, you know, the way they've hidden that was great. And of course, finding out who that was. That was amazing. That was a brilliant moment of, wait a minute, that face. I know that face. The fact that Peter, you know, a lot of people saying, Peter Wisdom, it could be, ooh. I think that was purposefully set up. We were meant to kind of think, oh, it can't just be some random guy with no powers. It is. He's just a fun middle-aged guy who wants to be out there and having fun and, you know, sort of ends up dying. Zeitgeist, or Pennywise, as you may know him better, going through the thing, which is obviously what leads to Peter's death. Shatterstar just being shattered into many, many wet, horrible, gooey pieces by a helicopter blade. Bedlam disappearing off the face of the planet as well, into the front of a bus. Which was very surprising. I thought, you know, Terry Crews might have survived. Obviously, Domino's luck helps her through. She was guaranteed a survival. But I just love the way they did it. They just kind of went, yeah, we've built it up as an X-Force film. It's not. Sorry. You know, they're all gone. And I loved it for that. I thought it was amazing. It was a great choice. But of course, that does lead us to the big plot point where, again, something that the trailers have been very clever to keep away from us. Vanessa dies. Amazing. She's gone. That's quite sad, you know, because I know canonically they do split, but she's still alive in that version. Here she's not, obviously. So I did think maybe they were going to morph her into Mistress Death or something. I'm like, because I'm not sure who holds the rights. If anyone knows, please drop it in the comments below. But, you know, whether Fox has the rights to Mistress Death because she's important to Deadpool, or whether Marvel have retained them because it's important to Thanos. You see, it's a bit of a tricky one. So I thought maybe this was them going, oh, we've got it here. But it wasn't the case. You know, it was just a way of him basically making sure his heart was literally in the right place. Deadpool taking a beautiful sentiment and turning it very literal. This is what we've come to expect. And, you know, the other sort of big, I suppose, spoiler territory is the fact that it's the Essex School. So, is there a Mr. Sinister in the future? He does have a big part to play in Deadpool's character, so that's a very big possibility. But that's obviously the reason that, you know, Russell's so kind of messed up, because of the abuse suffered at this kind of purity facility. But the other, well, there's two more great things before I wrap up, and the whole, you know, Cable coming back from the future. You know, he doesn't have a free pass to and fro. But the fact that he gives it up, you know, because Deadpool sacrificed himself, I think was beautiful. It was a very good, touching character arc. You know, after he's kind of been set up as like the villain, he's not a villain. And I love the fact that he used that. You know, once he knew that Hope was safe, he's like, well, I need you to be safe because actually you're a decent guy. He can see the good in Deadpool. This is where that strong bond that they formed, well, sort of strong bond, over the years, you know, really sort of cements itself. Of course, you know, the surprise villain to some of Juggernaut, I knew because of a video that broke down the trailer when we saw, like, the Colossus punch with the jab. You could see, like, half the helmet. But it was still an interesting way to portray it, and apparently credited in the credits as himself. It literally says, voice of Juggernaut as himself. Great. And that leads me to the final point, the credits. It was perfect. If you're going to have something that can involve time travel, why not go back and fix the biggest glaring hole in the whole 20th Century Fox X-Men universe, X-Men Origins, Wolverine, not doing Deadpool right. I loved that. I think everyone in the theatre who hadn't just run off straight as, you know, as soon as the film ended properly, was just, it was a palpable, yes, you've finally addressed that and you've done it well. And of course the Green Lantern script situation as well. You know, it was such a great way to end the film. It was one of the best parts of the film, which is kind of bad in some ways, but kind of good in others. It's what we've come to expect, and just subverts this credits tease thing. You know, completely turns it on its head. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I think it's definitely worthwhile. Go, pay your money, sit in a dark room full of strangers, and feel really awkward when you laugh when no one else is. But until next time, as always, take care.